Good morning, children. Today we are going to see the prose lesson, that is the fourth unit. Fourth unit, prose lesson, The 17 Oranges by Bill Norton. Now if you notice, first we will go to the author. We will know about the author. His full name is William John Francis Norton. He was born in Ballyonnis in Ireland on 12th June 1910, and he died on 9th Jan 1992. And he is also called as an Irish-born British writer. So he used to write all his work in English. He was an English writer, and he worked before he came to this writing. Before that, he went into many jobs, multiple jobs. First, he was a weaver. You know who a weaver is? Who weaves cloth. Then he was a coal bagger. Coal bagger here means a person who does manual work. That is physical laborers. Physical laborers, they could be those people who carry heavy goods or items, things on their backs, or they have to carry and load it into another place. So this was manual work. That's why they call it as coal bagger. Then he was a lorry driver, and after that he started writing books. And he was a prolific writer, a writer who used to write large number of novels, plays. We'll see later. All these, he started writing continuously. He started writing. Then he was very interested. He really wanted to become an author before itself, but because his family was not that rich enough, he started doing all these menial jobs. Then his work, if you see all the work that he's done, was all based on the working class society, that is the middle class society, how the people's work was at that time, the life of those people, the culture, the life, the standard, everything. If you see the way of life, everything was based on the working class society, those people who were employers or working in their self-employed. Then if you see all his work, he has written many plays. This I have just given an example of certain plays which are very important, which had given him his name or he became famous for. Now the play usually is a drama named Alfie, and this was later on made into a movie, and it had won the nomination Academy Award. Then also as a best writing, a best story, he also got the best writer. So this Alfie had given him lot of fame. Then novels. You know what a novel is? Novel is a long story. One story which is a very long story, one book. And that one famous novel of his was One Small Boy, that was published in the year 1957. Then he had also written many short stories, of which one of the famous one is The Goalkeeper's Revenge. It is mainly an autobiography of his childhood. All what he had, not autobiography, I am not sure, but anyhow he wrote about his childhood. That was in the year, all his 1920s, all of his childhood, his family and all that. Then his friends. Then afterwards, if you see, he has written also many children's books, and in this children's book, one of the famous one is My Pal Spadger, that was published in the year 1977. Now this is about the author. So we come to know that he is no more. He died in the year 1992. In the beginning, he was not a very rich man. He used to work in all the menial jobs. All type of jobs are given here. Later, he became a writer, and he was a prolific writer. He had lots of written work, literary work. Then his reflection work, all the stories are based on the working class society. Then some of his plays, novels, short stories, children's book, all this if you see, the most famous ones are these, and you will come to know that this particular Alfie was even shot as a movie, and it won the nomination. Okay, now we will go to the meanings. Now meanings in the lesson of 17 Oranges. Now if you see, The first meaning is deck. Deck is the harbor. Harbor is the place where the ships come to land, not on the land, come closer to the land where all the goods will be transferred to the land. And he used to work there. So we'll come to know in the story later on. Apron. Apron is a protective garment which is protecting your front part of your clothes that you wear. Usually chefs and all these people, you will see them wearing it. And it will be tied with strings at the back. So to keep it in place. So you don't have to worry if you get dirty, the apron only will get dirty, not your clothes which you are wearing underneath. Then the ship's cat. Usually the ships will have cats where they bring them up there itself, because ships are places where you go for, say, fishery, or lots of goods will be brought in, taken away. So you will find lots of mice and rats in the ship. So to keep those intact, not to get damaged by mice and rats, they used to bring up cats in the ship. So that's called as the ship's cat. And these cats will always be in the ship only. They will not go anywhere else. Dutch cheese. Dutch cheese is a traditional cheese which is made by the farmers in Netherlands. Netherlands is a place which is in Denmark is the capital. And if you see here in Holland, you will find a traditional cheese, and that is called as Dutch cheese. Concealed. Concealed is hidden. When you hide something, when you don't want people to see, then you hide it. That is called concealing. Red-handed. When do you call it as red-handed? When you are caught, when you are doing the action, and this action should be a wrong thing. That is not accepted by people, something wrong when you are doing and you are caught during that time. That is called red-handed. Blabbing. Blabbing means sometimes what happens when we are caught. Without our knowledge, we will just blurt out things. When they ask you a question, you just start blurting out because you are frightened. You don't know what is going to happen. So while we blurt out, we will have a tendency to reveal all the secrets. We will have the tendency to tell everything out without our knowledge. So police and all these people, they try to go on be pestering you with questions where they will not allow you to think, and by that time you prefer to tell the truth. That is what is called blabbing. Pips. Pips means fruit seeds. The seeds in the fruit. Suppose an orange, all the orange seeds are called as pips. Then chunks. Chunks are huge pieces of things. Suppose you cut the apple into big pieces. That is called a chunk. So thick large piece you cut, that is called chunk. So these are your meanings. Now let's go to the characters. We have very few characters. We have only 3 characters. Then your story, for not really a story, an incident. This is just an incident. And here if you see, it is in the first person. I is the first person, so the narrator. So the narrator is the author, Bill Norton. That is the author, I. So it is more like an autobiographical incident. Then Pongo. Pongo is a policeman who is working in the deck, in the harbor, where the author was at that time. Then we come to a third character called Clem Jones. Clem Jones is a friend of the author. So these are the 3 main characters in our incident today. So with this we will finish the characters. Now we will go to the lesson. Okay, now we can see the title 17 Oranges. Now you can understand this is a small incident where 17 oranges are involved. Now let's see how the author had to face an incident where he somehow escaped at the end. And let's see how cleverly he escaped. Now first, you must notice we are all fond of fruits. Usually we are all fond of fruits, and if you see here, this author, he used to like oranges more than any other fruits. He used to eat any fruits, but he was more fond of oranges. And any number of oranges he give him, he used to eat them. So he liked oranges. So but One day he was caught for these oranges, and from then on he started hating oranges. The thought of oranges made him feel sick. And so let's see what was the incident which something that he was so fond of made him hate it at the end. To the extent of feeling a nauseous feeling. Let's see what it is. Now let's see. Now he was at that time working on the deck. He was not really working on the deck. He was working for a company which was called as the Swift Delivery Company. The name of his company was Swift Delivery Company, and he was going often to that company place, to that deck or harbor. He used to help them to carry the loads which were coming to the harbor, and he used to distribute it to the other shops in the land. So now if you notice, he was riding a small cart which was pulled by a pony. Pony, you know, is a baby horse. And with a cart is the carriage where you keep all the things, and the pony used to pull the cart. And he was the one who was riding the pony, and all the goods whichever came, wherever he was asked to distribute, he used to do that work. So often he used to go to the harbor. And here if you notice, usually when things are given, when you work there, and he was not a very rich boy, I don't think he would have even had proper food to eat. So what he says, sometimes goods baby, bunches of plantains, bananas coming there. So what will happen, while they change from the ship to the cart, some plantains or whatever will fall down. So what they will do, they will just kick it. So when they kick it, it will go near the author. And the author, I already told you in the meaning, he had on an apron. And he used to hide it in his apron. And his apron was very big and huge pockets. So he used to put it in the pockets, especially in his pant pocket or even in the pocket of the apron. And he used to go sit in one corner and start eating all the bananas that he was able to get. So this was going on from the time he joined it. But then you cannot say he was a thief. He was not taking it home or anything. Just at that time he'll eat and he'll go on with the work. And so what happened, one day, as it was going on, he had a friend called Clem Jones. We already saw in the character. This Clem Jones, he was a very clever boy. He used to cleverly plan. He was a careful planner. So you can understand, he was very careful before doing anything. For example, if you see, one day there was this Pongo. I already told you, Pongo is another character who was a policeman. He was also working in the harbour. And this Clem Jones, what he did, he was a real thief, you can say. But before that, before getting caught, he planned. And what he did, he carried a box with him. And he carried it so tight, he held on to himself, carried it very tight and pushed the lid down. And he started walking in front of the policeman. As he was walking in front of the policeman called him. And he asked him what he was carrying from there. So he said, it is the ship's cat. The policeman did not believe him. So because he was telling many things were getting lost. So thieves were moving around and they were taking things, and now he was answerable to all this, because usually when things get lost, the policeman will have to find out. So this was a big job for him, and so what he did, he was very angry. He was telling many things are getting lost. So I have to be responsible to all this. So show me what it is. So immediately Clem Jones says, no, I cannot open it. It's only the ship's cat. Please believe me. Again, the policeman was not pleased. He got very angry. He said, no. So again what happened? Clem Jones said, see, suppose I open it, the cat is going to jump out. And I want to take this cat. I want to take this cat and dump him somewhere else. So policeman did not believe him again. So he told him to open it. And he with an anger, furious face, he was so angry with the policeman that he opened it. The moment he opened it, the cat just jumped out and started running towards the ship. So this time Clem Jones was very angry with the policeman, and the policeman was shocked to see the ship's cat. Then he understood maybe Clem Jones is telling the truth, and so he felt bad. Then he looked at him and he smiled. So Clem Jones, with a furious face, furious means angry face, he just walked back to the ship. Within 2 minutes, next 2 minutes, he came back with the same box, holding tightly again as he came before. And immediately again the policeman, he just looked at him, and this time with an angry look to the policeman, Clem Jones started walking. And he went on, and the policeman thought, okay, it will be the ship's cat again that he is carrying. Then he kept quiet. Then after suddenly, this fellow went on with a furious look, he went on moving from that place. And once he went to his house, his kitchen, he opened the box, and there he had a huge piece of Dutch cheese. So he had stolen a huge big chunk of Dutch cheese in the box. This time it was not a cat. So he carefully planned his theft. So how did he do it first? He showed the policeman as if he was taking the cat. Second time, it was the cheese. If suppose the policeman was careful enough, if he had just asked him to open it, he would have caught him. But the policeman believed that this time also it would have been the cat. So he left this Clem Jones. At this time, he was very happy that he had cheated the policeman. And also he got a huge Dutch cheese. And Dutch cheese may be a costly matter. And so this he escaped, and maybe he was lucky, maybe he was a planner, that also helped him, plus he must have been lucky, but our author was not that lucky enough. He also did something where he got caught. Now let's see what the author did. Now if you see, I told you he had an apron on. Apron is a protective garment that we saw already. And this protective garment, he had huge pockets and all that we know, and it was all tied up with a string behind him. And one day what happened, he had a ship of oranges came to the harbor, and he had to load his cart with oranges, and nice or juicy oranges. And we already saw in the beginning of the lesson, our author used to like the oranges very much, was very fond of oranges. And so what he did, he thought when there are thousands and thousands of oranges, just taking a few of them is not a big crime. So what he did, he started loading his pockets with oranges. And as he was moving, the policeman, Pongo, was sitting there. And as he was moving, suddenly what happened, the string that he had tied behind, the apron string just gave way. It just broke off. The stitches had given way because he had lots of oranges in his pocket, and it was very heavy. So because of the weight, what happened? The string broke and all the oranges started falling out. And this the policeman saw, and the policeman was very angry, and he now was happy that he had in fact caught a thief. And so what he did, he dragged him by his collar. With his collar, he just dragged him and he took him to the cabin. So he caught his collar and dragged him to the cabin. Cabin is a small room in the harbor. That is in the place where they are kept there. And he took him there and he started searching all his pockets. Started searching. And when he searched, he found 17 oranges in total. Totally he found 17 oranges, and he arranged those oranges beautifully on the table. He arranged it on the table. And he was so wild. And imagine 17 oranges were stolen by a thief. Now Pongo, he said, now I understand. I was already given an thing to find out the thief. Now I have found the thief. The thief who stole these goods or different things, and today he was able to find 17 oranges from this thief. And so he was in fact triumphant. He was very happy that he found a thief. And he asked the author, do you have anything to say to this? Because he has found the proof. So he is asking him, do you have anything more to say? But the author was so frightened that he kept quiet. And he didn't want to say anything, blabbing. We saw the word blabbing, where he was frightened that many used to read lots of mystery, detective novels. And in these detective novels, you used to find out that thieves, usually they start blabbering things, just telling without knowing or thinking. So what he did, the best way he thought was to keep quiet. If you are quiet, they'll just be bombarding you with questions, but you needn't answer them at all. So you will be safe. So he was quiet, but he was very frightened. And with the evidence right in front of him, he didn't know what to do. He was worried. And then the policeman, now he wanted to get another witness to tell to other people that he found this author who had 17 oranges with him. So he went in search of a witness. So if you see, when he went for a witness of another policeman who was working with him in another place in the same deck. So he had locked him in the cabin so that he will not escape from that place. So he had locked him in the cabin and he went in search of another witness. So as he had gone to search for another witness, our little thief, what happened? He didn't know what to do. He was so confused, frightened, anxious. Now what he did, he looked at the walls of the cabin. He didn't know what to do. He looked at the locked door. He could not escape. Then he saw the 17 oranges neatly arranged on the table. So this was a big proof right in front of him. Then he also saw the broken strings of his apron, and he was looking at it so angrily. Because of that only he got caught. And then he also thought that he may be losing his job. So if he has to lose his job, what will be the next thing? Not only with that, he may even be sent to prison. So we have a tendency, when we are caught red-handed, what will we do? We will think to the utmost, the maximum amount of punishment that we will have to face. That is our anxiety level which will work in us. So what happened? He started thinking the worst. So what did he do? He thought maybe he'll be sent to prison for stealing these 17 oranges. And so what did he do? Not only that, going to prison also was secondary. But what he was very frightened of was, what will happen if his father comes to know about this? Surely his father will get very angry. And what is he going to shout at him? What is he going to do after that? All this confusions, all these thoughts started coming into his mind in a rush. So poor fellow, he didn't know what to do. He was confused. He was looking at all this. You can imagine the drastic mental state this little author had to face in the cabin, lonely cabin. And he went on getting frightened. Then at the end, what he thought? He gave up hope. He thought, that's all. You cannot do anything. You cannot escape from this trouble, because very soon a witness is going to come. He is going to be caught for these 17 oranges, and all the events that are going to follow later on, he had already pictured in his mind. So he was ready to face whatever is going to come in future. So as he was going on thinking like that, suddenly a voice in his head, that is maybe his consciousness or something, started talking to him, and it just told him, eat the oranges. So what was the first voice that he heard? The voice that came into his head, eat the oranges. Now suddenly, if you have to think of eating the oranges all in a go, imagine 17 oranges, how long will it take to eat? It's not an easy joke, it's not an easy work. So that is what went on. Once you eat the oranges, what is going to happen? The evidence will be gone. So your evidence will be gone. So this was the idea that came into his mind. So immediately what he did, he didn't even pause for even half a second. Immediately he started peeling the oranges and started eating the orange. And then suddenly he saw, even if he had eaten the oranges, what about the skin, the peel and the seeds, the pips? That will also be a proof. Then he thought, okay, no, I cannot eat the oranges, only the orange which is inside, the pulp. I have to also eat the seed and the peel. So he didn't know how to imagine. The peel will be bitterish and the seed, imagine, he has to just swallow it. And so anyhow, his only way to escape was to remove the evidence, and that is remove all the oranges out of sight. And he could not hide it anywhere also. He had to eat everything. So what he did, he thought, okay, now the same voice is telling him to swallow. Please don't bite and eat, because while biting and eating, it will take time. So swallow it, just gulp it inside, push it inside. And there was no water also to swallow. So he had to swallow everything with the pips and the peel. Pips and peel. So you can understand, everything he had to swallow. Then he cannot swallow very easily. If he has to peel it and the skin separate and the pulp separate, seed separate, it will be difficult. So what he had a small knife in his pocket. Usually they'll have. And what he did, he cut it into chunks. Huge pieces. Maybe he cut it into 4. And what he did, he started taking one chunk and started swallowing it inside. And as he was doing it, at the end, suddenly he heard Pongo's voice outside the cabin, as if he was nearing the door. And when he saw the table, he had still 3 oranges left when Pongo came to the door of the cabin. And when Pongo came, when he heard the voice of Pongo, he got very frightened. And there were still 3 oranges to swallow. But at least he was lucky this time. What happened was, suddenly there was, they were called. The policeman who came along with him was called, because there were some drivers who had come to load the things. So they started moving, because they were asking some question. So to help them in their work, what they did, both of them started moving to that place to talk to those cart drivers. And as they were there, the policemen, they all went to talk. So our author got a little more time, because he had only 3 oranges left. So he got little more time to finish it. So immediately, without even thinking, he started going on swallowing. And as he was going on doing it, the work that these policemen had at that time got over, and they started coming to the cabin again, towards the cabin. Just as the door opened, he swallowed the last chunk. And these 2, especially Pongo, entered the cabin triumphantly, victoriously, because he had found a thief. And so very triumphantly he entered the cabin and he said, see, this is the thief and I have found him. And the moment he saw with the policeman said, but where? I cannot see the oranges. The table is empty. And then Pongo was shocked, because he was the one who had arranged the oranges so neatly on the table. He was really shocked. And then he looked at him, he looked everywhere. He was not sure. He could not understand anything. He looked on the empty table, and then also he thought maybe he hid it again in the pocket. So he was checking this author's pocket, in the apron, anywhere else he had put it in some corner, into something. He went on searching, but he could not find anything. And he was telling, my God, what happened? Did it really happen? Then only he realized maybe he had really eaten up all the oranges. And with the pips and the peels, how could he have done that? And the other policeman said, yes, I can get the smell of oranges, because orange smell is very strong. and because he had eaten them, still that smell would have been lingering in that particular cabin. So naturally he said, I can get the smell of oranges, but the oranges are missing now. And so Pongo got very angry because he had caught a thief red-handed and now the proof was gone. So evidence was gone. So he got very angry with that and he started shouting at the author. He said, what did you do? I could have put you in prison. I could have removed you from the job. And how did you finish it? All that, he started showing all his anger and frustration on him. And then afterwards he could not sue him or anything because the evidence was gone. So the other policeman, what did he say? He said, you leave him, no other go. Now there's nothing, we cannot tell anyone. So this author at last, he had swallowed all the 17 oranges within, in fact, half an hour. That is what they say. Within half an hour, he had finished swallowing 17 oranges. He swallowed 17 oranges. And you can imagine with the skin and the seeds and all inside the stomach, what churning feeling, what heavy feeling, I don't know. He would have been burping only oranges and he was feeling so sick. And he says for a week he was sick after that. And even till later on, whenever he thought of oranges, he used to feel a nauseating feeling where he felt like vomiting whenever he thought of oranges, to the extent. That's what the amount of fondness that he had for oranges was just the opposite at the end. And then later on, usually we have this habit, isn't it? We have escaped once for all. So what will we do? We'll go talk it over with our friends and we'll be sharing it with our friends. So what he did, he went back to Clem Jones and he spoke about this experience with Pongo that day. And Clem Jones said, but he had no right to lock you in a cabin. That is very wrong of him. You should have told that. Then only our author thought, yes, that is also correct. I shouldn't have allowed him to do that. That is also wrong. Then I could have sued him. In fact, he shouldn't have locked me in the cabin for half an hour, all alone. And so then, but even then that was nothing. His escape was more important than being locked for just half an hour. That was main. So then he says, but okay, I escaped the situation, but later on what has happened? I really hate oranges from then on. That he started hating oranges. So now, this is the small incident that the author had to face because of stealing some oranges. Do you think the author would have stolen anything else after that? He wouldn't have even thought of it because this oranges would have been going on reminding him of that particular incident. So now let's see what really happened. Again, let me check it once again. Now if this 17 oranges by Bill Norton. Now this 17 oranges, if you see, this author used to work in a Swift delivery company. He used to drive a small cart by a pony and he used to work in the deck, the harbor. He used to carry goods from the ship to the land. Then he had a very close friend called Clem Jones who was also working in the harbor like him. And this Clem Jones, he was also a big thief, but he was a careful planner, not like our author. Our author was more innocent, you can say. And what he did, one incident that Clem Jones says is that he carried a box. And in that box, he held it on so tight that when Pongo, the policeman, asked him to open, when he did not open in the beginning and he was going on telling him that it will jump out, the cat will jump out. But then Pongo did not believe. So the moment he opened the box to show Pongo what happened, the ship's cat jumped out and ran back to the ship. So then he was very angry with Pongo because he showed as if he had taken a lot of trouble in catching the cat and now it was all a waste. And so he went back to the ship. And this time, within 2 minutes, what happened? He came back with the same box, holding it close to him. And this time, what did the policeman do? He just looked at him and left him thinking it was the cat again. But in fact, it was a huge Dutch cheese that he was carrying in the box. So this was a careful plan. We can see that. Then after, our little author, poor thing, what he did, maybe there was a group, a truck, ship of oranges which had come, and he had to transfer everything. As he was transferring, he just put some few oranges in his pockets, apron pocket, with his pant pockets and all that, and it started bulging and all that, and it was getting heavy. So what happened, the apron, maybe it was too old, the strings just gave way, and then what happened, everything, the oranges started toppling out. And as this started happening, Pongo was there, and Pongo found it, and he dragged him by the collar into a cabin and locked him inside. He went in search of a witness of another policeman. By the time when the author was sitting in the cabin, he was so frustrated, anxious, angry with himself, frightened, everything, mixed feelings. And during this time, he looked at the wall, he looked at the locked door, and he looked at his pockets, the strings, and then he was thinking, what is going to happen to him? He's going to lose his job, he's going to be sent to prison, or later on his father will come to know. What is his father going to tell? What is his father going to do to him? So all this frightful thoughts started working in his mind. And poor author, suddenly, as he was just sitting quietly, he lost hope completely. Then suddenly a voice worked in his mind. It asked him to eat the oranges. And once the oranges had been eaten, surely the evidence would have been gone. And so he will be able to escape. So he started. But first time he started peeling them and eating them slowly. But then what did the mind voice tell again? Don't take this, this you cannot do, because the peel and the pips will be evidence. So please swallow it. So immediately he took a knife from his pocket, just cut them into pieces and started just swallowing them with the peel and the pips. Then afterwards, he heard Pongo coming towards the cabin, because he was talking to the other policeman. As he was coming towards the cabin door, he still had 3 oranges left to complete. So just then, there were some drivers who had just arrived near the door of the harbour, and they wanted to see this policeman because they wanted to get directed somewhere else. So these policemen, both of them, went to talk to those drivers. So that fetched him more time. So these 3 oranges he had time to swallow. By the time, just as one chunk was remaining, the last chunk, just then Pongo opened the door and stepped in, and he swallowed it. That was the last. Then when Pongo and the policeman came inside, they were shocked to see the empty table. And he was very angry, because the only evidence that he had against the author was gone. So he was so wild with the author, and he started shouting at him. And the other policeman, he said, I can still feel, I can get the smell of oranges, but the oranges were missing. So they at last came to know that he had swallowed them all. So he had no evidence to sue the author. So he had to leave him. And at last the author escaped from the problem that he had to face. And when he shared it with Clem Jones, this particular evidence, Clem Jones said, but he shouldn't have locked you in the cabin. That is a thing that he shouldn't have done. So he said, okay, leave it. But anyhow, I was able to escape from this situation. So at last he was happy. But happy maybe because he escaped from the situation, but he was very sick afterwards. He says that sickness was carrying on for nearly a week. So his stomach was churning for nearly a week, and after that his fondness for oranges was completely gone. Maybe he would have had 1 or 2 in his lifetime later on, but later on he started hating even the sight of oranges. So this is about the 17 oranges that our prose lesson is of. So with this, we complete this lesson.